So this is Redone by Cameron Francis. It's a Triumph routine, which I think has some interesting potential here. These are milk build shuffles that he uses, and then when he goes into the force, he's cutting a third of the deck away, so you get a break under the bottom card. And then he does a swing cut, and he says, oh, then you do the timing force. Spectator says stop, and their card is the 9 of hearts. Then he does a double undercut to get their card to go to the bottom. And now he does, you gotta get half the deck face up, like so. And then he gets in preparation for tilt, and he does the false pharaoh into tilt, which I think, if you just sort of work that a little bit, it does look pretty good. Now he's holding a break under that top half. And then he does an actual real tilt, real pharaoh, which looks like this. I'm being a little vague intentionally because I think the revelation here is pretty good. That top card should go sort of like one under. Then I have a pretty mixed up sort of deck here. As you can see. And here I liked how he did this. I think that looks all pretty good. Hopefully it looks good to show a mixed up deck. Maybe angle wise you could do it a little bit better, like this. But that should look like the cards are pretty mixed. Then you give them a spread. One card writes itself in traditional Triumph fashion. What was their card? Their card was the 9 of hearts. And it's the only marked card in the deck. It's actually the only card that's marked red, because actually the whole deck is blue. So just a couple nuances here. I think it's easy to follow along. You start with the card on top, you milk build. So instead of doing the traditional Hindu convincers, like this, where he's pointing, he's just doing milk builds, which I sort of like. And then he just, pauses, which I think is looks much better than Hinduing. I think Hinduing looks weird in general, so I think that's good. Then when the cards, after the cards, so on the selection, you're turning the deck face up, you get a break under the bottom card, you swing cut, and now you're just doing the timing force. So this is here, you're holding a break. They say right there. Now you need to double undercut that card to the bottom. So you get a break, and then cut, cut, cut. It's now at the bottom. You turn over the entire deck, and now here you just have to make sure you cover. You're getting a break at about half the cards, and you're going to rotate these around. And this is where you're doing fake tilt, which is a Dr. Sawa move, which I think is pretty clever. You're basically fake pharaohing into that break. It's a bit exaggerated. Just make sure that card stays flat. You make it look kind of good, like that. And you're still holding the break. Then this goes up like this. And now you do a real pharaoh. Maybe just get the top card to go under. I could see it's about 2 down. It's still pretty good. And that's a real pharaoh. And now you're going to say, and now the cards are pretty mixed up. So you got 1, 2, 3. Then you have a face down card. Here you get a break under the top 2 cards. And you just pull the 1. And now you're going to take half the deck, pull the whole thing. Get a break under the top 2. Just pull the 1. Break it half the deck, pull the top card, hope this makes sense. Here you're getting a break under 2 cards, and you're only pulling the top card. And now you're pulling only the top card, but you're cutting half the deck. So as long as you're doing, I think if you do this the proper angle, it does look like you get a bunch of cards going by, so I think that's great. Then on the last one, you really just give it the cut like so. Snap, right all the cards. And then the deck turns blue.